Hi everyone, my name's Katrina Markoff. I'm the creator and founder of Vosges Haut-Chocolat, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my path into chocolate alchemy and what does that really mean. Just to give a little background, I started Vosges right after graduating from Vanderbilt, where my studies were in chemistry and psychology, and I got to my second semester of my senior year and panicked that I showed up to these career fairs and had no ability to really interview well. It just felt super awkward. And so I was given a book that was titled Where Your Heart Leads You, Success Will Follow. And it had all these manifestation exercises in it. So I went into one of the beautiful parks at Vanderbilt, the lawns, and I wrote down all the things I really loved doing, which was horseback riding and cooking. So I decided to circle cooking. I broke the news to my mom that I was going to go to culinary school after Vanderbilt, and I moved to Paris to go to the Cordon Bleu. And I had this incredible journey there, but realized that there were a lot of cultures that were doing really interesting foods that I had never heard of. So I ended up working at Abuli in Spain for a while, and then I traveled around the world to study food and got really fascinated with how food was much more than taste as I was traveling, and that there were wellness components. Now, this was 22 years ago, so wellness in food wasn't really in my lexicon, and I was seeing it firsthand how close plants and people were. So I got back to the States, and I realized there was no innovation in chocolate. I didn't want to be a chef. I didn't like the culture of a kitchen. And I wanted to share my love of these cultures and artists and movements and religions and all these things that I had experienced and loved and fell in love with and so intrigued with through chocolate. So the concept of travel the world through chocolate was born really out of that desire to express my journey, and in a very experiential way. But when I started, I knew I didn't want to do anything for money because that didn't drive me. I had this, I had just left Vanderbilt, so I had this real need to make the world better. And I started thinking about how I felt elevated and connected from experiencing all these different cultures, and that I wanted to do that through chocolate. So I had this idea of bringing peace to the world through chocolate, and I was going to do that. And that was my big goal. I didn't exactly know how that was going to work, but in the beginning, I thought of it as, well, I'm exposing people to the Nagaland in India. And so people who are prejudiced against Indian people or the food, or they think it stinks or whatever, they would be more open to not having judgments about things that they didn't know. And so I sort of rationalized my mission through getting people to open up their minds to new ideas through chocolate combinations, would get them to open their minds up to new ideas and to different kinds of people. So as I continued down my journey, what I realized that we were really doing with chocolate was these guided tastings were really opening up all the sensors in the body. Because when you ask someone to try something with bacon and chocolate in it or curry and chocolate, they immediately become very present. So they stop and they even take a deep breath. And then they pick up the chocolate and they look at it and they're judging, nervous, but very present in how it looks. And then smell it, and then taste it and hear it break, and then they taste the chocolate, and then their mind completely goes to being present with that taste experience and receiving it. And what I found as I was doing that myself is that actually opened up my intuition. So by the sensory path of tasting also got me to that sixth sense, or the pituitary gland, or the third eye. And when I would ask myself a question after doing a tasting like that, I would find that my clarity in my answer and my strength of being able to answer it was great, was profound. And so what we're working a lot on now is how to use food, chocolate, as a vehicle for connecting to that inner divine essence and that wisdom, and then also to allow the mind to open up to sort of receive those messages. And cacao in its origin is actually meant to do just that. Cacao is sacred plant medicine. The Mayans would use it in ceremony. They would drink the cacao seeds crushed with water and chili and sometimes a little bit of honey. But the reality was this was a very bitter, water, little spicy drink. And they called it the food of the gods because when they drank it, after about 5 to 30 minutes, they would notice that their heart rate would increase and that they started to feel a lift in their mood. So they basically were saying cacao was raising your vibe. It was taking you out of worry and fear and into the heart space and opening. And when you open your heart, you're able to love yourself and you're able to connect and love others. And then they would also say it would open your mind to sort of get the downloads from the gods and goddesses. And now that we have science around this, we do know that there is ANA and phenylethylamine and theobromine in cacao, ANA and phenylethylamine to really bring those bliss feelings, and theobromine to bring the energy. But it doesn't crash you down the way caffeine would. There's a little caffeine, but it's the theobromine that gives you that really amazing buzz or high about it. And then cacao also, again in whole form, has cannabinoids. So it also makes you calm, chills you out. And it's a very, very powerful combination of things that you might think almost sound opposite, calm and energy at the same time. But that's what you need to have like really critical thinking, but also to really be a little more outgoing and connecting with other people. So the Mayans knew this. Now we know science has this, but kind of the next layer of using chocolate in ceremony, the way we're doing it in a modern capacity, is to get people to write. There is a powerful energetic charge that you get from writing down your goals, your dreams, as big as possible. So we're working a lot on alchemical process through these different chocolate rituals to help people transform themselves into connection with their essence and sort of with the divine, and to make their lives better, because when you write things down, they tend to happen. They sort of magnetize them, and that's the whole thing about quantum physics. And so we have a few rituals. One is called chocolate ritual for prosperity, one for self-love, one for protection, joy, I think peace, and we have various ones. And in each collection, it takes people through a ritual of how to prepare for this intention. And there's a series of different breathing exercises and body movements, and of course the main part is the writing and then the tasting of the chocolate. So we have people write down their wishes, their dreams, and then they place the chocolate on top. And then you sort of meditate on it or just sit with it, like just kind of repeating that intention. And then you take the chocolate, read what you wrote, and then taste it. And that chocolate has been infused with the message. And then as you taste it, that goes into your body in a cellular way everywhere. And then you become a true like radiant magnet for that to happen. And we recommend people do that multiple times a day. And then take a separate book to journal all the serendipity and all the victories that happen around that goal. And it's incredibly powerful. And I've been drawn to do this work because I needed to do this work for myself. And that's how I really create. Nothing I do is because it's a trend and I'm trying to catch on. It's really because I need that work, and I need to heal that in myself. And that's what I tend to put into my work that I do with chocolate and at Vosges. And what's next is really that deeper development of like using chocolate for those transformations in different ways and going deeper on those types of experiences, both virtually and hopefully soon in person. And so I really believe I was drawn to work with chocolate because something in me knew the power of this food as being really, really sacred. And it's funny because we think about it as so much a confection and so much of a sweet, but actually there's a lot of vibration in it, and especially the darker it is, because you're getting closer to that whole cacao seed. These are basically seeds that we're using to crush up to make chocolate. And my wish and want is to use this as a way to bring peace to the world through chocolate by connecting with yourself, to be able to connect with someone else and make all your desires to come true. So thank you so much.